Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected, find out how to choose an internet service provider, discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, is holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for
It's going to have to do, she says, as we start the show. I have a cold coffee in front of me. That's the only drink I have. That's a little sad, but I guess we'll handle it. I hope everybody's doing well. Today it is Wednesday, August the 7th of 2024, and I am excited to join you today to watch a little bit of, someone else's family drama. We love it when it's not ours, right, Julie? Please. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. I would love to hear what you have for dinner. If you didn't like what you have for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. I haven't eaten anything all day. I haven't drank anything. This is my first sip of anything pretty much all day. And it's cold coffee from yesterday. So I did take some caffeine. Maybe that's why I'm so bright and bubbly, Chuck. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Sherry. Chuck, I hope you're doing well. It's just caffeine. I only took half a pill. You know, I do a little gamble with my caffeine pills here. Some of them are halved, some of them are whole. And it is a little bit of a God gamble when I dump this into my hand and then pick one out. Sometimes it's a half and sometimes it's a whole one. That's how we take medicine, right? That's how we take medicine, I think. Vince, other people's drama, fuck yeah. I love it. Let's get into some messy drama, shall we? Messy drama. Thank you so much. So glad. That's definitely pink, right? This is pink. No, I can't do it. I'm not a good YouTuber. That's pink. Thank you so much, Vince. Amazing. Vicky. Oh, they're caffeine pills. And they might rip my stomach apart. I have a very strong stomach. Weirdly enough. And I used to be on Ritalin. I haven't taken Ritalin in 6 months. So this is my Ritalin. Hi, Hector. Hi, Courtney. Vince. We can arrange that. I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get going. Let's get started before Vince can rethink that. We are in Kansas.
My apologies. The last hearing ran over just a little.
That's fine, Judge. We'll
We
forgive
were
you
at the
this
point
time.
of making final rulings, and that needed to be done.
No worries.
Do we have everyone we need?
Yes,
I'm
I
here.
believe so.
This is in the District Court of Ellis County, Kansas, case number 18 DM 284. It is Abba Plant through Matthew Goslin versus Nikki Plant. May I have an announcement of appearances, please?
May it please the court, Your Honor, the plaintiff Shane Goslin appears in person and by and through his attorney Kip Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please, the court. Ms. Plant appears in person with retained counsel Donald E. Anderson, Great Bend, Kansas.
My apologies, Mr. Goslin. I didn't see the Shane up in the upper part of that.
No problem.
What?
We are on for a
I love it.
motion regarding where the child is going to start kindergarten.
Correct, Your Honor.
So many kindergarten fights lately. So many kindergarten fights. I'll tell one story before we get going. My daughter, who I'm very proud of, I hope that comes through. I am. When we were, she is older now. She's almost 16. But when she was a baby, I really wanted to put her into a French immersion school. And in Canada, where I live in Canada, it's not very common to have French schools. So there's only a few of them. And there was one really good one that I really wanted her to go in. But we had to go line up. And I went down there at like 3:00 in the morning on the day to line up to get her a spot. And I took a lawn chair and I parked my ass outside that school. And I wasn't even the first person there. But we did get her spot in French, and to this day she is still in French immersion technically. Oh, Chris, thank you so much. Thank you. I was just thinking of you today. I saw your comment. I love it when you leave the likes. Thank you. Anyways, the funny part of that story is that I told my daughter, we got her ready for school. We got her all prepared. But then she came home the first day and she said, "Mommy, they don't speak English at school." And I said, "Oh, yeah, that's what school is. It's where you learn French. It's where you learn another language." And it took her 6 months before she came home one day and said, "Mommy, there are English classes at the school." And I was like, "Oh, funny. We're too late for that now. Just keep going. We. Honestly, I would have loved to be put into an immersion class when I was younger. So I just made her do that. And she speaks French and reads French. So I think it was worth it. Mercy buckets. Anyways. I love it. All right, let's continue on with these people fighting over kindergarten. Obviously, also kindergarten registration for us is in January for September. I'm not joking. When I went and sat at the school, it was January. Fucking cold. Courtney, she's as happy as anybody is going to high school. I would put it that way. Actually, she goes fairly often, but I think she likes it. I think she does. Oh, they all started school yesterday. That's so exciting. I have a picture of her first day of kindergarten, and she was so sassy, and I printed out this sign, and she was wearing it. She had this sign, and it said first day of kindergarten. And then I think I did that one more year, maybe 2, before she was like, "I'm not standing with your sign anymore, Mom." I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess we won't do it then." You guys are all on the same page about school. Chris, oh my God, members only is on Sundays. We got interrupted with a chase this week, my first ever chase. Just proving I can do it to the old men on the East Coast as the West Coast correspondent. I just made her take a picture with a sign, Sherry. Before we left the house, I made her stand with a sign that said first day of kindergarten. Like, it was a Pinterest thing. I tried really hard to be a Pinterest mom for a while. I even had a blog. A blog. Hey, Big D. I don't think, well, somebody's probably getting the Big D.
One second here.
You mean Jock or Jack? Or what do they call them, Jacks now? I went to an inner city school. Same one that my daughter goes to now, but so it had a very robust fine arts program, but not very good sports. No sports. Judge, is that a built-in in your office back there with some red thing on the wall? What is that?
And Mr. Johnson, I've seen your motion And there's also, Mr. Johnson, you have submitted some documents that you wish to use as exhibits by email.
Yeah, possibly, Judge. A couple of maps.
Okay.
We got MapQuest. We've called MapQuest to the chat. It does look like a fire alarm, but it's too high up.
And
It's too high up.
Mr. Anderson, you've also submitted some documents via email.
Just showing the
Oh, which I ran
the child is pre-enrolled in.
humble brag time. I still have the ad right here. I ran a mommy group when I had my first baby called Awesome Mommies, where awesome mommies meet. This was our flyer that we posted all over town. And I also had a weekly spot on the news doing a parenting minute, which I guess tracks, you know, doing a little show here and there. Love the attention. But when we started this, we called it Awesome Mommies, and I was the chief operations mommy, and my business partner was the chief executive mommy. And she actually did all the executive stuff, and I had all the ideas. And we would do events every day of the week. And we had a website where you paid to be in the social network. And this was 15 years ago. So I was a bit ahead of the curve, you know. But anyways, yeah, I would love to actually find those old news clips of me on the news. I'm sure that if I contacted the news agency, they would still have them. But anyways, we would go around town to all different spots where you would take your kids, and I would talk about it. And how much did people pay, Sherry? What a great question. This is the reason of the demise. It was $20 per year for membership with events every single day of the week. It was crazy. We also did mom's night out, dad's night out, book club. We had a wee babies group for just born babies. We had a almost mommies group, another one of my brainchildren. So we got them when they were still pregnant. I wanted to capture the market before they were even born. And we started out with I think 5 moms local together. And by the end, we had over 500 local moms that we would meet every day of the week and have a good time. It was lots of fun, though. I didn't drink and I didn't smoke weed openly back then either. So while I was stoned, nobody knew it. Very much so. Very much so. Okay, let's hear about their problems.
Plainville, Ms. Plant did that and invited Mr. Goslin to come with her. I think a couple weeks ago. How long ago was that?
It was on the, it was 20, or it was about a week ago.
About a week or so, like end of July. Also, there's a letter from the school district about the transportation and how the transportation would work as far as the child would be able to be bused by the Plainville school bus routes, whether he was with his mother at his mother's residence or at his father's residence in Bogue.
And I'll let you use your exhibits and explain them as necessary. I just want to make sure you are both aware that there was emails.
Yeah, I received the one from Mr. Johnson's office, and I included him on mine, so I assume he got mine.
I got Mr. Anderson's as well, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, how would you like to proceed with your motion?
I suppose we'll present evidence. We'll have I'll call Mr. Goslin, Your Honor.
Okay.
We did have a wine. What did we do that wine event? I'm not a big drinker, but we did have a wine event once.
And Mr. Shane Goslin, would you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. You may put your hand down.
Hi, Sean.
I assume you're in Mr. Johnson's office?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
Please state your full name,
Shane Goslin.
and you're the plaintiff in this matter,
Yes,
and you're the father of Abba Plant,
yes,
and you filed a motion regarding regarding the court to determine where he should start kindergarten.
yes.
Now, you were present.
Okay, I have to say something. All the events were wine events with an H, Nico, but only a few evening events were wine events, no H, I would say. Again, we had 500 local moms, and I was sort of like the matchmaker of all the moms. I would set them all up with the best mom to go, you know, with each other. I'd be like, oh, both your, you know, hubbies do this, or you both live in the same area, or it was lots of fun. I really enjoyed it. But I have to say something now. I have never heard anybody until I started watching court call kindergarten, much less lawyers. I can't tell you, recently I've heard judges and lawyers say kindergarten. It's not kindergarten. It's right. Actually, we've seen it before where they left their arm up for quite a while, Vince. Sometimes I have to hold my arm for quite a while. But I just think it's so, oh, Sherry, plus a weekly newsletter. Oh, there was so much more. Dude, yeah, anyways. Kindergarten. And it seems very weird to me that somebody, even especially in a position of an attorney, would utilize, or a judge would say kindergarten. It seems like the type of thing that you might do when you're a child, but that you would be sort of grown out of or educated out of. It's jarring to me when I hear somebody like that say kindy. But here's the thing. Oh, saying kindy just triggered that for me. So when I went to school, I was a menace. I was a horrible child all the time, very difficult in many classes. And so I often got sent on errands to do other things. And one of the things that I would get sent to do is hang out with the kindy kids, the kids in the kindies. The kindies, that's what they called them. And I would go and like assist with the teacher in the kindergarten classroom who, I mean, now I recognize it was like, oh, let's get rid of Paisley because she's fucking annoying and disruptive to this class, but she'll be fine with the kindies. So now I recognize that was probably not appropriate, but back then I was like down for it. Right? Me? Interrupt? Never. Hi, Carol.
When we had a final hearing in this matter,
Correct.
and at that final hearing, the court directed the parties to try and agree on where Abba should go to school.
Correct.
Since that hearing,
I'm sorry, ABBA? Dancing Queen. Feel the beat. No, seriously, did they say ABBA? I gotta go back. Now shut up and listen, Paisley.
when we had a final hearing in this matter,
Correct.
and at that final hearing, the court directed the parties to try and agree on where Abba should go to school.
Correct.
Since that hearing, have you been able to
Oh God,
talk
it's
with
ABBA.
Miss Plana all about where your son should go to school?
I have attempted to, and she just doesn't reply and just says he's going to Plainville School District.
No, the court didn't specifically order that Abba go to the Plainville School District, did he?
No.
Now, originally, when we had our hearing, you had asked for Hill City,
Yes.
but the court gave reasons why it didn't think he should go to Hill City. Do you recall that?
Not the reasons, but just, I don't recall the reasons, I guess, why he wouldn't go to Plainville City, but
The reason that Heidi got
But
another
you're asking that he continue in the school district that he went to preschool in?
correct.
And what school district is that?
Demar.
And, and how long was he in the pre-K program?
2 years.
Yeah, let's just adopt ABBA out to Sweden at this point. Maybe should we also tase somebody? You guys know I'm joking. People watching for the first time might not, but I have a little story. I just told my story about being a leader of a mommy group. I know a lot of baby names. Okay. I listen to a lot of people decide to name their children. And one of the rules that I had and the ways to do it is you walk into a busy place, you scream that name at the top of your lungs. And if you feel stupid doing it, don't name the kid that. I don't think it's Abbott. I'm hearing ABBA multiple times. I really don't think it's Abbott. But if it is halfway bad, okay. ABBA's, oh. I hope ABBA is already in singing lessons. Fuck kindergarten. Who's the vocal coach?
Now, explain to the court why you feel that your son should continue in the Demar School District.
Well, it's a middle point between Nikki and myself is the middle point. Demar would be Paco Demar School District. Other reasons, including just recently, Nikki confessing and opening up to me that her boyfriend, Cal Holloway, just went to rehab again through their church for 30 some days for the way he was drinking and how he was talking and speaking to her and how he cannot hold down a job. I find pulling the child out of the school district to put him in another one at this time would be, without knowing more of what's going on, is not stable for the child or even in his best interest.
And at the time of the hearing, you had concerns about Demar School District shutting down.
Yes.
Have you gained information about the Demar School District?
They may or may not in the future consolidate with Logan, Kansas.
But it's not their intentions to close.
Correct.
Now, does ABBA have friends in the district?
Yes, he does. Over the 2-year period, he had made several friends through many of the grades.
Are there any of ABBA's close friends going to continue to go to Demar?
Yes.
And who are those?
Ethan,
Normal name.
oh shoot, the 2 little girls, and there's another little boy for sure that will be attending there that SJ's gotten along with really well in the past.
2 girls and a boy?
Yes,
So he has 3 friends that he's established
that's just in his grade.
that
And
will be in his grade and will be going to the Demar School District.
To Eurovision
Yes.
Championship with ABBA.
Do you feel that keeping him in the Demar School District will give him some stability?
Absolutely.
You think it is important for him to have stability?
Yes, schedules and stability.
And how far away are you from Demar?
9 miles.
So if something were to happen at school, you'd be 9 miles away.
Correct.
Now, how far are you away from Plainville School?
26, 27 miles.
Do you know how far Miss Plant is from Demar?
This plant from Demar. It's 18 from Plainville to Demar. And I think they said, 12 or 14 to where she lives from the last court hearing. So that'd be right at 27, 28 miles. Is that right? And then she works in Russell at a print shop.
Do you know what her hours are?
They seem to fluctuate very much.
But
Pay
during
is-
during the school day? She would be in Russell.
Yes, there's lots of times she's asked me to meet later so she could work longer and meet for the exchange of our son an hour or 2 hours later most of the time.
And when you try to talk to Miss Plant about where Abba should go to school, what was the procedure that you used?
I gave her a few reasons on why I didn't think it was a good idea for our son to go to school in Plainville, including, this is where Nikki originated getting hooked on methamphetamines and later in life. I mean, there's, all the travel fees. She wouldn't even acknowledge that, the extreme travel fees that may be involved with all of this. Understanding that she is only driving 20 miles one way at times. And I've offered to help out with things, and I've also given her gas money in the past to help level every balance out.
And he decided to enroll Abba, pre-enroll Abba in Plainville, even though she knew that you were not in agreement with that.
Correct. That happens quite frequently.
Yeah, he choked that out there. Every time they say Abba, I laugh a little bit. I feel bad.
Do you think it's important for Abba to have a consistent school life if his home life may be chaotic?
Yes.
And do you have concerns about?
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object to all this. We've already litigated all of this. We're wasting everybody's time. This is not new information. We spent 3 or 4 days in November.
It is new information. Haven't
Wait,
gotten there yet.
Counsel, don't do that. Mr. Anderson, make your objection. Mr. Johnson, don't argue over the top of him. Wait till he objects. If there needs to be a response, I'll ask for it.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson, what's your objection?
My objection is all these issues have already been litigated. We've taken care of this. The only thing for the court to determine is where the child should go to school, since they couldn't come to a decision. Nobody moved. There's no difference in any of the information. These are all the same concerns Mr. Goslin had before in November. None of this is new.
Well, the hearing was in November 20th of 23 and November 21st. I've got fairly extensive notes from all the witnesses' testimony from that hearing, but the court will allow the parties to recap some of the information as long as it doesn't get too unwieldy. So with that explanation, I'm going to overrule your objection. Continue, Mr. Johnson.
I just wanted to go into new information, Your Honor, and Mr. Goslin touched on it. Is it your understanding, Mr. Goslin, that Ms. Plant's significant other has gone to treatment since the hearing?
Yes, and my understanding was in May of June of this year is when Miss Plant had told me about it.
And she also indicated that one of the reasons why he went to treatment was because of the way he was treating her.
And drinking, correct. And they went through a church to send him somewhere because they couldn't afford to do it. So the church paid for it, is what Miss Plant had told me.
And does that give you concerns about the stability of his home life?
Absolutely. Not being able to hold down a job and drinking and not getting along with the spouse. Yes, it does raise lots of concern.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched court in public and people think I'm in a hearing.
Let's see. I'm going to hand, since we have everybody has copies of the exhibits, can we just address the exhibits? Or do you want me to share them over Zoom, Judge?
However you want to do it.
Zoom.
Okay, I'm
If
just good.
Mr.
Zoom.
Anderson is okay with you referring to the exhibits.
Yeah, I'm fine. I believe them to be the same ones with the same distances that we took up in November. Again, nobody's moved.
Okay. Well, I was just putting it in for the court's assistance. Let me hand you Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. You recognize that?
Yes,
And what is that exactly?
that is the bus routes for Plainville School District.
Bus routes.
And Plainville will pick people up at Zurich, correct?
Yes,
So
the
you'd have,
map shows a mile west of Zurich or east of Zurich, but there's a letter stating that they do now go into Zurich.
Yeah, he's
move
never
to
gonna
admit
talk about it
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
There you are. I stipulate to the mission of both the exhibits that Mr. Johnson wants to use.
Okay.
again.
And Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 is just shows where Bogue is, Zurich and Plainville. And
Zurich.
where does Miss Plant live?
6 miles east and 7 north is the way it looks.
Oh,
That's creepy. That's the creepiest way I've ever heard somebody say somebody's address. 6 miles east and north of whatever. They all seem to be. Who said that they were on Quaaludes earlier? Seriously, they all seem to be fucking just way mellow.
Plainville?
Plainville.
No other questions,
Where she
Judge.
wants the kid to go to school.
And we're on exhibit 2. Have you marked that or not?
I didn't mark it.
It's up our road in between 23 and 24 road. It's
Okay. If you go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, if you look at our road,
Can we not
Just
dox
a
her,
second.
please? What
Okay,
court was
our
that in?
road,
and we're on our road,
I believe it's between road 23 and road 24. Just a little bit down where it says USD 271 for Stockton.
that's where you believe her house is.
Yes.
Okay.
not having any luck finding our road up here.
Can you see USD 271 on the exhibit?
They're still talking
Yeah.
about where she lives.
If you go down to the next road running east and west,
Okay, there's our road.
yeah, and it's between 23rd and 24th Road.
Okay.
No, they're looking at MapQuest, Julie. I refuse to believe they're
And
using
how
Google
far
Maps.
is that from Plainville? That's what, 1, 2, 3,
MapQuest
4,
only.
5, 6,
They printed out the direction.
It's
7, 8,
12.7
9.
miles.
Pardon me?
12.7 miles
10.
per MapQuest.
Okay.
Oh my god! They are using MapQuest!
Or Google Maps.
No, don't ruin it for me. Oh, that was pure shock. True shock right there. Asshole, stay with MapQuest. I have a deal with them. I gotta go back and hear that again. Oh my God. It's exhilarating to be right sometimes about things that matter not at all. It is exhilarating. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like it has no value in life, but it has made me the happiest today that almost anything has. Except Vince. I think Vince has also made me very happy today. Oh, let's listen to him say it again.
Okay.
Or Google Maps, maybe.
No, it was MapQuest. Say it. Say MapQuest.
Pardon me?
12.7 miles
10.
per MapQuest.
Okay.
Or Google Maps, maybe.
And then just a knife in the heart. Google Maps. No, he's just old like me. So he remembers MapQuest. Oh, so 90s, right, Lisa? Oh, but that just thrilled me. I printed that out 9 years ago.
Okay, any additional questions based on my question, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any other questions, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
Ross, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, briefly. So, Mr. Goslin,
That's what he said.
if Abba was to stay in the same school district, how far of a drive is it from you to drop him off and pick him up at school?
9 miles both way, I believe it is.
Okay, 9 miles. And what is the drive from Miss Plant?
You said round trip,
Just one way.
but one way. So hers would be 13, so 20 miles.
From
Too
her
much
home to
measurement.
DeMar?
No, to Zurich, where the bus will pick him up was established that the bus will still pick him up in Zurich, Kansas, like last year.
Okay.
Also,
So
America.
20 miles to
a lot
Zurich.
of names. Zurich.
And if Abba went to school in Plainville, how far would you have to drive to Zurich?
Yes.
Yeah, how far would that be?
What did we say? I was 7,
Also, I realize now
21, I believe.
Okay,
I didn't-
so the same distance, roughly the same distance you're wanting her to drive, correct?
Correct.
No further questions. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then I'll just tell the story that I've realized now. So I have aphantasia, which means that I have no visual imagery in my mind. I don't ever see pictures in my mind. I never have. It's always been black. And I realize now it is why I devoured information as a child, especially visual information, and like wanted to keep it and watch it and have it and look at it. And I would read through every book I could get my hands on. Like every book in every house I lived in, I looked through, I read, I touched, I looked at atlases. I remember we had this one atlas and I was like all the way, always looking through this atlas. And, it wasn't hard for me because I don't have anything to compare it to, but my daughter has visual imagery. When I figured out that I have aphantasia, I asked her, do you see the pictures in your mind? And she said, yeah, Mom, I do. And I was so happy for her, but it is probably a result of, or that is why my brain is the way it is. I like to look at anybody. Yeah, naked. I definitely love to find sex stuff. For sure. That was a big thing on my mind. Always like trying to learn more about all those different things. And it's hard now that I realize that some people do, well, most people do have visual images in their mind where it's black all the time, but I have a lot of really unique, cool parts about it that now a lot of when people are like, wow, how do you think of that? Or how do you come up with an idea like that? Or why would you say something like that? Because I don't see it. I don't see what you're talking about. And so I'm not constrained by that. It also means I read really fast because, again, I don't see anything while I'm reading except the words. And it's why I think I see spelling errors so well. Anyways, let's keep going. Here's my public service announcement about this. If you have a child in your life or person in your life, and you want to figure out if they have aphantasia as well, what I would say is people that have had this their whole life have learned to compensate, and they don't believe, like, it's hard for me to believe that people have that until I figured it out. And so when you say imagine an apple in your head, the person that has aphantasia is going to imagine an apple in their head. They don't see it. And so that's why the test really, I would say, you do a visualization exercise. And I've had teachers that have told me they do this with a whole class of kids. They do a visualization exercise, and at the end they say, okay, and how many of you didn't see anything? And approximately 5% of the kids will put up their hands. And that's really what it is that even though you can imagine things, you cannot see any part of it. And it also means I am a terrible memorializer, memory person, unless I have a video of it, because I can't ever recall it visually. I have to recall it with, I guess, all the other senses that I use. But I fantasize in the same. I don't know actually. I don't dream at night in images. It's always black, so it's just things I hear. And then how I like remember my daughter and bring her to mind, if you would say that. When I think of her, I don't see anything. And I never could. But I don't know. There's just like emotions attached to her and the feeling that I bring it up in my head. I guess it's, again, I've always said like, oh, looks don't really matter to me. Like, looks really don't matter that much because I don't really like remember people visually again. So I'm never bringing that up. It actually freaks me out to know that other people can bring up visual images of me that are accurate at will in their heads. That's actually weird to me. Like, I can't picture anybody that I've been with in the past, like in a picture. I can tell you what they look like because I learned their characteristics and the words associated with them. But again, that fades over time as well. It's just a weird part of my brain that I never knew about.
I don't have any other witnesses, Judge.
And no redirect, Mr. Johnson?
Identify
No
a body,
redirect.
sure.
Oh, no redirect, Your Honor.
I know what
And no
any
other
looks like.
witnesses.
Mr. Anderson, do you intend to call witnesses?
Yeah, we call Miss Plant, Your Honor.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please?
Is Julia?
You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're currently in the state of Kansas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're currently in Great Bend in my office, Your Honor, just for the
Right.
record. State your name.
Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
I apologize. Thank you. Please state your name.
Nikki Plant.
And you are the mother of Abba Plant.
Correct. Yes.
You always sat here and heard the testimony from Mr. Gosling, correct?
Yes.
Did Mr. Gosling try to contact you about where the child would go to school?
He just objected to what I was. He just told me he was not going to go to school to Plainville when I asked him if he would want to go to enroll with me. And then he also brought up
Yeah, there's nothing. I can do that just as well, if not better than anybody else. I remember what people look like, Sherry. If I've seen somebody one time in my life, the next time I see them, I always remember where I've seen them before. I just can't bring their memory to mind, but I never lose their face. That's the weirdest part for me. I recognize people always. And I can almost always, if I've learned their name, I'll remember their name as well. But I would never be able to bring their image to mind, but I can always identify when I've seen somebody before, and usually the name. But again, couldn't draw that for you, couldn't but people that that I'm close to or I see all the time, I could tell you their facial features technically, but it wouldn't be an issue to come and identify somebody's body. What I would think would be a legal issue would be if, and this is an interesting point. I don't know that I've ever heard this brought up in any court case, but my memory is not visual. It just is not visual. So there's no getting around that. And it's not easy to like verbalize how I do remember things, because I don't see letters in my head. I don't see anything ever in my head. It's always black. Actually, a bit of a mind fuck to learn that other people have stuff in their heads. Katie and I. Did you know that? Probably, because apparently it's like 96% of people that do versus like 4% that don't.
A lot of nonsense that wasn't even about our child. He brought up like allegedly I used drugs in high school when I never used drugs in high school. He tried to use that as an excuse to why he shouldn't go to school there.
Okay.
And so I just left that, and I didn't have a conversation with him because I didn't want it to go away from the child.
Okay, so
Yes, and sometimes I say it
you
out.
did try to discuss enrolling him in Plainville. He refused, and his reasoning behind that was because he believed you to use drugs in high school there.
Well, yes.
And you guys were pretty good friends in high school.
No,
Shocked me. That's
I don't
sweet.
even think we would even be in high school together.
You did. Point being, you didn't know him in high school, correct?
No.
Okay. So, as far as you know, he didn't know anything about you in high school, correct?
Correct.
What we've emailed, Your Honor, page 1 of the email attachment. Ms. Plant, do you recognize what is page 1 of our attachment?
Yeah, that's from Chris Reinhardt.
Okay, and what is it about?
It's stating the bus transfer for picking up Appa from.
But my point, Sherry, and this is the last thing I'll say, is that if you have not identified that you have aphantasia, you will likely not know that you've been called to do the same tasks your whole life that people with visual imagery have. And so I was terrible in school in some ways, but teachers were baffled. They're like, why? Like, what is so fucked up here? But I'm reading way, way, way longer, like books for way out of my league in terms of grade, but and things that would disturb people sometimes. Like I would read a lot of my mom's like university books, and she was doing like women's studies, and I remember reading really advanced books in elementary school and bringing them to school. And again, because I would devour anything I could. And now I realize that's because there was nothing in my mind other than what I put into it and then what I said. And the inner monologue. Like there's an always never ending inner like voice of thought of Paisley. But yeah. Oh, the last thing. Very last, I promise. When I hear music in my head, it's in my voice. I think that a lot of people don't have that. They have it in like the actual artist's voice. But when I hear music in my mind, like when I sing a song in my head, that is in my voice. And apparently that's weird too.
Zurich, and also they were stating that the bus driver does live in Bogue, Kansas, and that's the bus just say that they would pick up Bala from.
Okay, so if he were to go to Plainville and he was with his fathers, he could, at a bare minimum, he could be picked up in Zurich by the Plainville bus route.
Yes.
Okay, and then when he's with you, where would he be picked up at?
He'd be picked up from our house.
Okay. And then what's exhibit number 2? I don't know if anybody
Some
can
people
read,
say
but if
that
you zoom
it's
in on it,
That's the
it
date.
just shows the date of on 3/26/20.
3/26/2024.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's enrollment date.
And 3 was in March. That was months ago.
Oh, that was his pre-enrollment, sorry.
Okay, that just shows that she did sign him up for pre-enrollment at that time, not knowing what they were going to do. And then finally, the final 3 pages are the pre-enrollment printout from
And that's his final enrollment.
I'm trying to see the date. I'm not sure what date. It doesn't have a specific date, but it shows enrollment for Abba if allowed to go to the Plainville school system. The fact that he is pre-enrolled there and is available. So we'd offer to admit those exhibits 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C. However, we're doing that for today, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
1, 2, and 3 are admitted, although I cannot read number 2.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah, I mean,
I tried
honestly,
to enlarge it, I still can't read it.
it's really hard.
So
I mean, I have no problem if we don't admit that one since it's eligible. We'll just do 1 and 2, Your Honor, just for the purposes of the record. I don't think makes sense to do something that nobody can read.
Again, no objection, Judge.
uh,
I think it's just a receipt showing that he was pre-enrolled, but that's, like I said, I don't think it really makes a difference one way or the other, whether it's because it's so hard to read. That's all we have, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have for now. Mr. Johnson, obviously, proceed with his cross.
This has made no sense. This has been a terrible hearing, Paisley.
Mr. Johnson,
Did you know that Mr. Goslin objected to Abba being enrolled in Plainville?
He never stated that until I asked him to go to enrollment with me. He also got mailed a copy of his Abba's pre-enrollment paper and mailed to him from the school themselves of the pre-enrollment, and also Dana Friend, the kindergarten preschool teacher, which was my first grade teacher, also texted him and messaged him about enrollment, and he never responded to her.
But he had told you that he didn't agree to Abba going to Plainville, correct?
Yes,
And you called him or told him about the pre-enrollment on the day that you went, correct?
no, he got the pre-enrollment package for pre-enrollment, and that was on that 3/20.
Okay, well, wait a minute. You say he got. What do you mean by he got? Did you give him something?
No, he got it mailed to him from the school.
But you don't know if he received it or not, do you?
I guess not.
Okay. But you didn't give him anything.
No.
And did you talk to him about where Abba should go to school?
I tried to have a conversation with him, but he was going way off subject about our son. It was always back directed towards me and about my family, what we were doing, and it was nothing about actually our son.
But you didn't file a motion to have the court determine where he should go to school, correct?
I was trying, but it did not proceed.
And you just enrolled him in a school, correct?
I did enroll him, so he did not miss the enrollment date.
I don't have any other, oh, well, no, that's outside cross. I don't have any other questions, Judge.
any redirect, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor.
Your next witness.
I have no further witnesses, Your Honor. We just asked the court to take judicial notice of its prior statements and I guess the prior testimony from the November hearing. The The final order of that hearing's stating that the parties were to try to agree to a school, and if they were unable to, the court would decide for them, and stated that it was a court's inclination to send the child to the midway point of Plainville. We think that's still the most realistic place for the child to go to school based on, I don't know that Mr. Goslin and Ms. Plant will ever agree on anything. So to hopefully avoid hearings every few months, we're gonna have to get court orders to take care of it all.
What a poor existence for this child. Terrible. Both of you should feel
Anything further,
ashamed.
Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, and I certainly am not wanting to disparage either school. I think he's going into kindergarten this year, correct?
Correct,
sir.
Your Honor.
Yeah, so I assume both of them can adequately handle kindergarten. I have two concerns, and they're the same concerns I had following our hearing on November 20th and November 21st of 23. One is whether or not DeMar will remain open. And you're talking about, well, they'll consolidate with Logan. Well, Logan is a pretty fair piece of drive itself from DeMar up to Logan. Secondly, I have a huge concern if Cale Holloway in any way ever drives ABBA. He cannot drive ABBA, period, end of story, in any way, shape, or form. You understand that, Ms. Plant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he can never drive him anywhere.
Wow. Hold on, Judge. Julie has just blessed us with 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Julie. Do. 5 new members. This is about kindergarten. Yay, Julie. Hi, Erica. And Cale Holloway. The judge hates Cale Holloway. That's a forever, ever on, like he just said that, forever, ever. Speaking of forever, this is Rimmel Provocalypse 16-hour kiss-proof lipstick, Casey Carey. And the color is, what is it? I don't know if it says the color. Anyways, but it's from Rimmel London. Provocalypse 16-hour. And that's why it stays on. And I'll just tell you, tomorrow morning when it's still on, and yet none of this is, it looks a little bit fucky.
And frankly, Mr.
my lord.
Goslin, if the child is going to school in Plainville with the bus service directly from her house to Plainville, or from Plainville out to Zurich, or if the bus driver does in fact live in Bogue, you can talk to the bus driver. He may be able to drive him from your house in. But if there has to be any driving, I would prefer the driving to be done by Mr. Shane Goslin. I think it's safer for ABBA if you're doing the driving. And that is what tips the scale for me. And you may disagree with my logic, but I prefer you to do the driving instead of the defendant. And certainly, Cale Holloway can never drive ABBA.
Never.
Okay.
That's her new boyfriend who went to
And
rehab
with the
for alcohol and being
uncertainty
rude
of
via the church,
you know,
right?
how long tomorrow will be.
I'm pretty sure that is the case. It's not expensive. No, you can almost guarantee if I own it, Casey Carey, it is not expensive. I am what some people call cheap. So, and very, very, it's lasted for a long time. Long time. How much is it there? Because I bet I would pay $10 probably. Max. $10 max. The drunk boyfriend. Yes, it is the drunk boyfriend. I guess I'm thrifty. I am. Yeah, he has a bad reputation in Kansas, huh? But you know what? The thing is, $6.97, super cheap. But that's about $10 Canadian, so that makes sense. Hi, Cheryl. Lucy, I will look at it. Let's hit play.
Open. I certainly don't want to start the child and then have to change mid-year sometime. In the testimony we had back in November, I think either school would be fine. And so the tipping point for me is to make sure that the defendants are not driving Abba to and from school. And so I find you much more reliable for the driving purposes, and to ensure that that happens, Plainville is the better option. He's starting kindergarten. He'll make friends wherever he's at. And I think there's a better chance he'll have stability through Plainville. Now, if you run into problems, certainly you can file a motion with the court and we'll bring it back.
So we went with
But where
mom.
he's just starting kindergarten, I think he'll do fine making good friends in Plainville, at the kindergarten in Plainville. And so with the parties not being able to agree, the court's going to order the child to be put into Plainville for kindergarten. For my own reasoning, that ensures that any driving to and from school is done by Mr. Goslin and not by Nikki Plant, and certainly not by Cale Holloway.
Never ever. Never
Now,
ever.
Mr.
Report it
Goslin,
to Judge
if the
Drees.
bus driver does live in Bogue, then that's the best of all worlds. Then he can just ride with him from Bogue straight on into Plainville and back. But you'll have to find that out. Okay.
My understanding.
Now, as far as the mileage, I don't
I'll take the bus.
recall if we gave her an allowance on that regarding any child support.
We don't really have a child support order in place, Judge.
Do we need to get a child support order in place? Because I couldn't find one in the file either.
The court wants us to exchange income information. We will.
Now, we had the temporary orders on the petition to determine paternity. I'm not sure you've ever had a final order determining. You've got the December 26th of 2018.
I think we have an order to determine paternity.
That had temporary orders. Okay, yeah, Shane Matthew Goslin is the natural father, so that's been done. And then you have had temporary orders. We had a child support worksheet that was admitted in March of 19, and this all predates May.
March of
I'm
2019.
not sure there was ever an order that came of that.
And look, it doesn't even come off when you smoke or drink. It's very lasting lipstick. This is the slowest hearing ever. Is the judge frozen?
I don't see one in the
No.
file.
Not frozen. Jesus Christ.
Let's see here.
Are you telling me nobody's been paying child support since fucking 2019? My lipstick? Probably.
The
Yeah.
driving's now all gonna fall on Mr. Goslin. We should look at
Every time he says that, I think of Johnny K plus 8.
a legitimate reimbursement.
Look at how much I can talk in between every one of his sentences. It's insane.
Once he determines exactly how the driving is going to take place, whether he's going to drop him at Zurich.
Zurich, and I keep thinking they're talking about Switzerland. Casey Carey. Oh, I love it. Tell me how you like it. Thank you so much. I love these long-lasting lipsticks. And Julie, again, making the chat green. I love that. Thank you so much. Look at that. Thank you so much. If you are just getting here, this has been a heck of a slow hearing where these people can't decide where to send their kid to kindergarten. So they've had to come to a judge in order to do that. I can't see it either, Pete, but that's what they're talking about. Also, we have, I know, I should just keep him talking and not pause him because, damn. Oh, I like it. I like it. MB has to monitor all her time in 6 minutes. I always think of that. And I count everything. I don't know if that's just how my brain works, but okay, let's finish this off. We've got one more hearing from a different court, and then Pass is listening. Hi, Pass. Pass is listening, and we got one more, and then I'll shoot you guys off somewhere else. That's what he said.
Whether the bus driver does in fact leave from Bogue.
It is believed that he leaves from Bogue, but it is not in a school bus. It's in a personal vehicle, and he drives all the way to Plainville to get a bus and goes back to Zurich.
No, he said he was willing to drive the bus all the way back to Bogue when you had him in your.
I know Siegel Irby very well. He lives a block and a half from me.
We know the
bus
bus
is over
driver in
there.
town. Now we're arguing about which bus driver is going to drive our children. What the fucking actual fuck? Also, isn't Zurich in Switzerland? Right? I swear to God. And that's well, what about with a court order, Lucy? Good question.
Well, he said he
You
could.
can,
Set.
yeah, I don't want you to just argue back and forth. So Mr. Shane Goslin, you can check into that. There needs to be a legitimate reimbursement for the mileage. I don't know if the parties want to come to an agreement or if we need to do a formal child support
There's only the top
worksheet in
mod.
order. I'm not sure you have a child support in place.
I think the best way to do it, Your Honor, is just do a formal child support order worksheet. I mean, there's been the majority of the travel has been done by Miss Plan up for school the last couple of years in preschool, and there's been no reimbursement. But we can, I assume, backdate that and get that figured out if we want to start. So I think just the best way to do it is just get a formal child support worksheet in place and get it taken care of in that manner.
I'll let council see if they can work something out. If not, let's get a motion on file and go from there, okay?
Okay, Judge.
But if you can work it out, work it out,
All right.
okay? Anything further today, Mr. Johnson,
No, Your Honor. Would you like me to prepare the journal entry?
please? Anything further today, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much.
I have
Do
a
you
real
need
question.
anything, any additional findings, or do you need to put anything else on your record, Mr.
Judge.
Johnson?
I don't believe so, Judge.
Any additional findings or anything else you need to put on the record, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor, thank you for inquiring.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
And again, I encourage you, please keep the best interest of ABBA first and foremost whenever you deal with one another.
They named him
Yes, Your
Abba,
Honor.
Judge.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
They named him Abba. Okay.
Thank you.
I saw that, Lucy. Mikey put that up early. Actually, yeah, I was in the chat watching it live. But yes, I saw that. Now, okay. Do you think in Kansas that they bill out longer because they take so long to talk? Like, do lawyers there get paid more because they talk slower? I know that's like a joke, but in reality, I'm being serious now. That just was insanity. Let's go off to Judge Grumpy Pants. I didn't catch all of his court today. I wish I had. I was a bad YouTuber. I was slacking, but I did get some of it. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, that's what I figure when I start hearing them. It's like, okay, I can start doing some stuff here. Doesn't mean anything, but
After Judge Grumpy has had his coffee,
Alright,
then we
but
can turn on the
we're gonna
computer.
take it. We're definitely gonna take it.
He also has another secretary, I've learned, you guys. Oh, they muted themselves. Interesting.
Ooh.
Oh, no, they didn't. Did they?
I like them just like when you kind of
Okay,
sugarcoat
I figured it out. The mic is on her redhead side, and it's directional, picking up her. But the camera is picking them all up. Interesting. That other lady must be very soft-spoken in the cardigan, sitting closest to us. Anyways, yeah, everyone is happy until he comes, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh. And you can see him coming from around the corner right over here.
Doors
Like, oh, laughter?
Doors open. I heard a goodbye.
You know, I will pull this ahead, but in reality, sometimes the best shit you hear is when you're waiting for
Oh,
court,
there's my birdies.
not during court.
There's another one swooping in. We'll just see the
So-
head bop and watch.
I confirmed
Everyone's in
today
there.
the top drawer, right, where
Okay.
she's sitting,
It just cracks me up.
there's something in there. I think it's beef jerky. It's a food item. I want to keep an eye out if she goes into it. What are they looking at? Are they talking about birds?
Over. Sure.
I find it so interesting that they don't mute it. It's like do they know? They must know. Judge, can we hurry up?
With beers and Stephanie's gonna take the.
Oh, Stephanie. Always a fucking Stephanie, I tell you. Ruining
No,
everything.
yeah. And on that jail one on his, whatever, the second, I don't have a second on there. Can you write 2 second things on there? Because I noticed when Rebecca's on it, it has the
Oh, I know. Julie, I've had lots of jobs.
Glenn, he's
Like
he's
this.
considered a second, but it wasn't on the original.
Oh, where did it go? Home. You should go home. Here's home. I just combined like 2 weird memes that don't really mean anything. But thank you so much for being a member.
Oh, here we go.
Hot. Mike, action. Here comes the judge. Be quiet, guys. Shh.
The thing that keeps the red. Bolton, he's so cute. She's here, she just doesn't have her video on.
Coffee! You bitch, Tamara. Reminding me that my coffee is cold and old, not bold or gold.
On the matter of Adam Robinson versus Tamara Robin.
For the record, this matter is before the court on the defendant, Tamara Robinson's objection to a referee recommended order that the defendant pay $403 non-insured medical expenses and 21% of outstanding remaining bills. And further, that the plaintiff owes $650.17 that has to be added to the front of the court account. And this hearing is being conducted via Zoom and the privilege of both parties present. The plaintiff, Adam, you're Adam Robinson, is that correct, sir?
That is correct, sir.
And Tamara Robinson is also present, who filed the objection. And the parties
Yes.
have conferred this morning with the front of the court. The court has received the following recommendation. The recommendation is that the court adopt that referee recommended order with one modification, that the plaintiff had to be responsible for $486.95 for the 2023 medical reimbursement. Mr. President, would that be then added to any child support arrearage account?
It would, Your Honor. It would be applied to the account. And then we had major discussions. I don't think either party understood how medical works. So I'm hoping we can solve this moving forward.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pratt. All right, Ms. Robinson, do you understand the recommendation this morning?
I do, but I'm still confused in regards to how this bill was occurred in 2023. And I'm being told because it was a payment plan, it ends up falling into a 2024 medical bill also, which I was not aware of that would happen. I assumed when I paid my initial percent that I'm court ordered to pay the 401 and then my 21% additional, that was all I'd be paying on our son's braces. And it was the agreement that me and Mr. Robinson had made that he would pay the initial amount that was owed after I paid my 2023 medical, because that was the only thing that time that had occurred and still to this date has. And then Mr. Robinson ended up going back on his word and not paying off the balance. And so here we are.
Of course,
So I'm just
the court can only act according to the existing court orders that are in place. Now stating whatever agreements you may make on the side.
Right. And then that's what Ms. LaPlatte explained. I just am still not understanding how one bill that was occurred in 1 year can be paid on and split up in a 2 year, because it was just made out to be a monthly payment thing to pay off.
All right, Mr. Robinson, do you understand the recommendation?
I understand the recommendation, sir. Yes, I am to have the arrears charged $486.95.
Correct. Do you have any objection to the court adopting that recommendation?
I do not have any objection to that, sir.
All right, Ms. Robinson, again, are you opposed to this recommendation? I understand you still are confused.
It's just, my problem lies with the amount that's owed now for our son to continue treatment. I don't have that kind of money on hand. It's just because I paid my part. I thought I would be done with this bill after I paid my portion and Mr. Robinson would pay it off. And now that's not happened. And now I'm stuck with amounts that I don't have on hand. And in order for our son to continue treatment, these amounts have to be caught up.
Okay, so he's still undergoing orthodontic treatment, is that correct?
He is not able to go. He is supposed to be, but he is supposed to have an appointment this month, but can't because there's amounts owed.
So the orthodontist is not willing to work with you and continue the treatment?
I mean, they've worked with us, and that's why the $118 a month was put in place, and I agreed to, and I paid my portion. I thought would be the portion that would be for the braces. And Mr. Robinson agreed, and then he was going to pay the balance off of his portion and didn't. So now there's a monthly amount again that I didn't plan on, and I don't have it. It wasn't expected. It wasn't something that I knew he would do.
Sir, the confusion comes because Ms. Robinson understands this bill to be complete. And it was explained to her by myself and Mr. McGee in the hearing that if she were to have paid this bill off completely 100%, she would be entitled to be reimbursed what the stipulations are, the 403 and the 21%. That would be her portion of that complete bill. Since she chose to conduct monthly payments on this, this bill is not complete. So she's still paying this bill off. It's not a complete bill yet. And even Ms. LaPrade explained that to her as well, that payments from here on out for 2024 will incur, but she would be credited for the 454 and the percentage after that for 2024.
Well, Mr. Robinson, if in fact the mother of your child needs some financial help for the benefit of your child, can you step forward and provide some additional help, notwithstanding what a court order says?
I have, yes.
Okay, are you willing to do so? Obviously, there's you want your child to continue. It's so important to continue, or you want to interrupt the orthodontic treatment.
I can help. She's asking me to put my card on file, and I've been the last 3 years getting credits on my support because of her lack of payments to me. So when she had addressed that to me, I said I wasn't going to put my card on file because we have to go through the whole process, and she refuses to pay anything. So she said she would put her card on file, and then with the agreements we made, they stated to both of us that the card on file would be charged as of January of this year, and it started getting charged of January. And she point blank declined making any more payments on it because she doesn't want to pay for it.
I put my card on file because he was going to put his card on file after I paid my portion. That's why I did that.
And the agreement was I was going to pay for November and December payments, which I did, and then they referred back to the card on file, which that's what they did. And then she
Mr. Robinson,
in January.
Mr. Robinson, why can't you pay directly to Ms. Robinson the $486.95 now rather than paying it off in 5 years from now?
Because I don't have it, sir.
Well, again, maybe you got to come up with that. Would that help facilitate continuation of the orthodontic treatment, Mr. Robinson?
100%.
To pay the $486.95.
They said that amount would definitely be sufficient.
All right, Mr. Robinson, how much time do you need what you pay for $486.95? I'm not going to add this to your rearage. I want this paid to reimburse Ms. Robinson.
So can I pay my
30
portion
days?
directly to the actual? So how am I supposed to come up with this extra money now?
I'm
everything that
asking for what the time frame for you if you can't.
Called hustling, sir. Everybody's got to hustle, and you've got to hustle harder. That's the lesson that you need to learn now. Pity party started real quick there, didn't it? Pity party. Do you have a card? Sounded like you had a card. It's Michigan. You can collect bottles there. I believe it's 10 cents per bottle.
To answer the court, then the court will simply order a time frame for you to pay this money amount directly to either the provider or to Ms. Robinson. Ms. Robinson should be paid to the orthodontist or should be paid to you.
If I pay it directly to the orthodontist, he can start his treatment back up.
Okay, so when can you pay the $486.95 directly to the orthodontist for the 2023 reimbursement?
I will get it together as fast as I can, sir. I'll commit that to you.
30 days. We should set a time frame.
30 days, you say? I'm sorry?
Yes. Can you pay in 30 days?
I will try to gather that money in 30 days and get them paid at the orthodontist. Yes.
Okay. All right. Will that, Ms. Robinson, allow the continuation of the orthodontic treatment if he pays directly to the orthodontist of $486.95?
When he pays it is when he will be able to continue his treatment. I don't want to argue the fact that Mr. Robinson is lying. I would submit my bank statement today, Judge, if I had to prove I don't have the money. Mr. Robinson, if he submitted his, he has the money.
Right. Mr. Pratt, will that create a problem if the court adopts the recommendation, but provides that the plaintiff shall pay that $46.95 directly to the orthodontist within 30 days?
No, sir, because we'll have an order that covers 2023, so it can't be revisited for the orthodontics. And then it would just state that he has to pay that. So if there was a question, we would at least have that order.
Okay,
We can modify the recommendation to say the amount shall be directly paid to the orthodontist within 30 days.
yeah, I would say on or before September 6th. That's it specified. That's the first Friday in September. That's 30 days. So rather than count the days, Mr. Robinson, the court can order you pay the $46.95 for the 2023 medical reimbursement directly to the orthodontist on or before September 6th. The sooner the better, so we can get that treatment going again. So you can make that happen in the next couple of weeks. That would benefit your child. And this is again the 2023 medical reimbursement. That will address that. Anything further than this morning, Mrs. Robinson or Mr. Robinson?
I would also like to ask, I've asked Mr. Robinson for proof of insurance card that he has through him, his HAP, and he has refused to give it to me. I have like no record and I need it to submit for my insurance through the state. They need proof of that and I have no information because Mr. Robinson refuses to give it to me.
Right. Mr. Robinson, can you make simply a Xerox copy of your insurance card for if it covers the children?
The insurance Health Alliance plan only sends out, and they don't send out any more physical cards. And I explained.
He asked for a fucking Xerox, Adam. Also loud. You can direct it at me. I know we are a bit early tonight, but not really. I'm gonna pass you guys on to Colin in a minute after this case is done, and he can carry the torch for the rest of the evening.
That to Ms. Robinson that they researched for the medical computer due to fraud through the actual birth date of the person being insured.
Okay, so you don't have a physical insurance card then, correct?
I do not have a physical insurance card, no.
So can you print out whatever you have on
that situation there? And I've
that out
explained
and mail a copy of it to Ms. Robinson?
I do not have a physical card, sir.
Okay, so when you go to the doctor, how do they access your insurance?
They go through their insurance computer, whatever they use for insurance references, and they look up for the birth date. And they can do that with myself.
Child's birthday.
Correct? I'm sorry?
Your birthday or the child's birthday?
My birthday, they could look up either one.
Okay, well, you can look that up yourself, can you not?
I can look up that, I have an actual insurance, yes.
Okay, so why don't you look that up and print it out and send a copy to Ms. Robinson?
I can see if I can do that.
I'm sure it shows a contract number.
The group numbers and everything are different though. And they look that up in their system. All I have is mine.
Okay, so you're saying there's a different group number for your children?
From what I understand, yes.
Your Honor, if I may clarify, HAP does an individual ID number for every person that's insured. So there's a number for the family, and then everybody's got a different identifier that's covered under that policy.
Okay. So how do we get Ms. Robinson? I don't know if she has access to that because it's coverage that Mr. Robinson has. So Mr. Robinson can print out the information from each child then, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. He should be able to access it under his group and he should be able to see the ID number, but it sounds like all of the providers have that information. That's probably looked up under the child's name as well as dad's name as the provider.
No, I'm asking because I have a form I need for my insurance through DHS. I need the information and he's refusing to give it to me because he's never given it to me.
So, Your
Okay,
Honor,
I'm
what
just-
she's discussing is a coordination of benefits. DHHS wants to know who the primary carrier is. So that's why she needs the information. So if Mr. Robinson would be able to go into his HAP online and just print out that information so that Ms. Robinson can turn that into the DHHS caseworker.
Okay,
Yeah, and if I was to ever have to make an appointment, because I now am the only one that's able to make appointments for anything, I don't have that information.
all right, Mr. Pratt, if you could add that to the recommended order that Mr. Robinson not only pay directly to orthodontist of $46.95 on or before September 6th, but he also provide printout of relevant insurance coverage and provide that to Ms. Robinson also on or before September 6th. So Mr. Robinson, go online, print out whatever information you can that will accommodate to Ms. Robinson.
Okay, I'll see what I can do, sir.
Okay.
He is being such a pain in the ass, isn't
All
he?
right, with those additions, the court will enter the order to that effect. You both be mailed a copy of this. And Mr. Robinson, the sooner the better to pay the orthodontist, we can get to this orthodontic treatment. We can resume that as soon as possible. All right, thank you, Ms. Brad, for your assistance this morning. That will conclude this hearing. You can all zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Welcome.
You also.
Welcome.
Let me get the newest rec up.
Yeah. She's gonna get it to the judge, all blah. That was just plain stubbornness and annoying, to be honest. Oh, so if you don't like Streamlabs, you can go ahead and block it, and that's totally fine. It is a bot that includes games, gambling, commands, chat commands that we add. We have hundreds of them and a bunch of other things. But if you find it annoying, just please go ahead and block it, and your chat will quiet way down. Speaking of chats quieting way down, this is my reminder that I am going to transfer you over to Colin's chat, and it's PG-13. Please remember that. You can't do there what you do here. The rules don't apply here, and that's why we like it. But I will send you there anyways. Thank you again, Vince. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I am so thankful. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I would love to... Oh, something's picked up. I would love to remind you that I love you. I'm proud of you. And I will see you in the next video. I'll be redirecting you to Colin. So have a great night. Let me hit my outro music. Hit that song, Paisley. Bye.